first shut down, essentially, as the internet broadcast channel, that's essentially at the time that you came up with your plans. You wanted to go back to school and go back, to New Jersey, where you're from. I stuck around, and we ended up shifting over to DVD, which was not an easy shift. It was definitely a lot of work and some hard times at that point when you have to change gears so suddenly. But we immediately went to DVD in 2000 with that Let's Dance Salsa series, and also our Civil War. Remember, we were doing the Civil War Minute series online, and then
Sure.
we ended up remaking those as documentaries, and that's how I got started doing historical documentaries, was with our Civil War series, which we're still doing today.
The only thing that looks funny are the people in the animation scene.
Oh,
The
yeah,
rest of
it's
the
awful.
graphics in the game are generally very good.
Well, I said before, I'm not a big fan of digital people.
Well, they're not a big fan of you.
I went through a period where I actually wasn't playing that many games. I still watched a lot of movies and stuff when I could in my free time. And the PlayStation 2 was pretty much my weapon of choice for a few years there until I was eyeing up the Xbox 360, and you're the one that sold me on getting an Xbox 360 because I knew I didn't have time to play one, but you told me how great it was, and it's just tremendous.
Yeah, it's such a well-designed system.
Especially the online component, they did such a great job on that.
That's really where the key is, and I think that's still kind of underestimated as far as people's perception of, the games make the system, and 9 times out of 10 you're right. But when you're talking about the Xbox Live service, you're going to compare that obviously up against the Nintendo Online and the Sony Online systems and the PlayStation Network, and really I don't see anything coming close to what they've done with Xbox Live. As far as like providing a service, because it's really more than just a feature that's on the console. It's sort of a portal to all these different sort of avenues of entertainment, I guess. Because you got TV shows that you can download, HD movies, standard def movies,
And
games. All these different things. It's so easy to navigate. It's so easy to use, and they just made it very, very easy to access a lot of extra content.
I'm kind of envious of these kids today because we didn't have any of this kind of stuff when we were teenagers.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
We were playing with the Genesis, which was just, if you wanted to play with somebody else, you had to invite them over and then, play Sega Genesis or Nintendo.
Yeah, and I think a couple Sega Genesis games, they had that, I can't remember what it was called, but they had a modem that you could plug into your Genesis, and you could actually play a couple games online across your 28K or 56K modem. But, those were so few that I can't even remember what they are right now.
Yeah, well, it took them about another decade to get online gameplay right. I don't even think the PS2 had it down.
No, the PS2 did not have it down at all, but, the Dreamcast tried it.
Remember you and I when we were doing the Dreamcast games, because that was like the newest game system at the time when we were doing the show.
Yep.
We'd go to your apartment, and we tried playing football over the modem, and it was just the most god-awful interface. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was way ahead. It was ahead of the technology. It wasn't ready for that. That kind of
just like Game Room, ahead of its time.
Exactly, ahead of its time.
Underappreciated.
So, I mean, it was tough. Playing those games across 56K. Those programmers must have had a hell of a task trying to do that. But I think some people, had a good experience with it. But we were not one of them.
I think Choo Choo Rocket tried that too.
Yeah, Choo Choo Rocket tried it. That's right. Yes, indeed. That was I remember that. That was a fun game.
Talk some trash to your competitors.
Yeah.
Tell them what's up.
Tell them how much they suck at collecting mice. Ha 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 ha. Anyway.
You really need to get out more.
I think what impresses me most about the new game consoles and the Xbox Live in particular is the ability to just talk with any of your friends at any time online. Because my buddies are all we're all married now, and everybody's busy. So we try to sneak away or late at night, and then you can see who's online. You can basically talk with your friend about their kids or your housework you're doing while you're trying to frag them and throw hand grenades at them and shoot them.
It really doesn't get much better than that.
All right, what's this? I guess the cartridge is in here.
So what are your favorite games that you've been playing recently? What's really caught your attention in the last year or two?
Well, like everybody else, I got to go with Bioshock here. Bioshock is, it's really got to be one of my favorite games that I've played in the last 5 years. It's just absolutely memorable. And, I know Ken Levine, the guy who designed the game, keeps coming out and saying, oh, my story was crap, and, I dropped the ball in the third act. I got to say, okay, fine, critique your own work, but, man, recognize your own genius when you did it. It's such a great game, and I guess, hopefully they're going to make some sort of sequel. I'd love to expand that world and play into it a little bit more. They're going to make a prequel or something like that. So that's what I've been reading. What I've been hearing. So just to get more into that world would just be absolutely fantastic, because they designed such an amazing atmosphere, the art direction, the music, everything about that game just came together perfectly, and it just came up with one of the most memorable experiences I've had in a long time.
I would agree with you 100%. I can't even remember when. Probably like Vice City on PlayStation 2 or something.
It's definitely an achievement towards. Definitely, I feel it's an achievement pushing video games more towards the argument for art, as opposed to just purely entertainment.
Well, it was a combination of the writing, the tremendous. You were right. The atmosphere, the tremendous atmosphere, the design, the production value, the art design. The sound effects, everything. You actually cared about the character. It was kind of an interesting, had a nice, interesting storyline. I don't know if I personally thought it was pretty good. That's one of the only games I've ever played where my wife would actually sit there and watch me playing it, because she thought it was so fascinating on how the whole thing looked and just the whole world. She said it was like a living Ayn Rand novel. Yep. With guns.
With guns, yes, exactly. It definitely was, and I don't think they tried to hide that at all. All the references to Ayn Rand, it was very much had that, that feel to it, and they really nailed it. And I thought it was just a great, it just had a great sense of homage and on top of originality and creativity, and really just the universe they created in that game.
And the controls were. It made sense in how you controlled the characters. It was. The way it was designed, I don't know anything about game designing, so I'm not even going to pretend like I do. But I can speculate.
You know it when you feel it.
Yeah, I can speculate that it's obviously easier. Maybe that's the wrong word, but probably more efficient to design a game where you're enclosed, where you're not dealing with a whole outside world. And although Bioshock was enclosed, it was kind of like a dungeon crawler in a sense. It never felt like it.
No, it never felt that way, because, it was the perfect premise. You're in this underwater city, and, but you did get those open world sense.
Yeah, because
those shots, because you would walk through the hallways with the glass, the glass exterior, and you get the glimpse of the city of Rapture, and that was enough. That was enough to open it up. But yeah, you were it was a corridor shooter. You're just sort of going through and going from one thing to the next, and killing the big daddies and the maybe not the little sisters, whether you harvested them or saved them or whatever. It never felt like you're doing the exact same thing over and over and over again.